I want to help the community. I want to solve a problem, but I need the city to help me out.
Yeah.
We need to be in partnership. We can't be going at it head to head. Building projects, building cars, building friendships, building communities. I just love taking pieces, finding the pieces, figuring out which pieces to use, and putting them together and creating something. I think that's just my thing. Set the bar and get people to, for whatever reason, whatever their motivation is to do better, it only pushes me to do better. And then when we're all doing better, everyone wins.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Real Estate AF podcast. I am your host, Rio Osorio, and today we have the pleasure of speaking with Ahmed Seirafi, very well-respected commercial developer, real estate investor, has developed and invested in over $500 million in commercial real estate since 2007. Wealth of experience and knowledge that you're going to learn from today. And side note, we may even talk about some of the fake gurus out there on Instagram. Enjoy the episode.
Tell me about your developments that you have going on right now.
So right now, the only thing that's kind of actively moving dirt, and it's kind of paused because we're finishing up some entitlement stuff, is out in North Dallas. We got 288 townhomes on 90 acres in a city called Anna, which is like a suburb city just on the north side of Dallas, half hour. 288 townhomes. We've been moving dirt, and that will be a large for-rent community.
Nice.
Because, it's the same concept as multifamily, but it's just townhomes. People are wanting to get out of the apartment business or the apartment living. They can't afford a house. They can't find a house. Can't qualify for a house, but they need larger space for the family. So townhouse living is the next step up.
I've seen that popping up a lot lately, like out here in East Mesa. Couple of.
Yeah, it's a really good market.
Yeah.
So that's out in Dallas. Out here in Phoenix, I don't have anything except for the existing. And then back in L.A., Southern California, we have a bunch of projects going through entitlements, planning permits and stuff like that. Big project out there is 275 apartment units.
Okay.
That's just got fully submitted to planning, meaning, the full package. Got half a dozen small industrial buildings on a couple projects, 3 lots. Three small projects totaling 6 industrial buildings from $5 to $12 million. And then was going to do a self-storage, but it looks like it may be rotating into a medical office condos, right? Not for rent, and the office market is soft as fuck. But from what I understand, that the area where I had the land, a lot of medical companies or hospitals are coming into the area for offices and stuff like that. And the insurance companies are now encouraging doctors to get out of the hospitals. The insurance companies have to pay patient money, but then they also have to pay a facility fee, right, to the hospital. Well, they're like, well, if the doctor had his own facility where he did small treatments or he saw patients there or whatever, I wouldn't be having to pay as much money to the hospital as I would to a doctor who has his own office or his own condo somewhere.
Right.
So, encouraging doctors to say, hey, go buy your own little office space, go rent your own office space, whatever it is. Because 1, you'll probably make more money from the insurance companies, and 2, the insurance companies don't have to pay as much money to the hospitals anymore to see patients there versus your office. So, doctors have money. They all want to get into real estate.
Yeah. Nice opportunity.
They don't know what to do. Here's something to own your own thing,
So did you already have it entitled for storage?
It was entitled for light warehouse.
Got it.
One more of the warehouse projects. It was getting a rezone or an overlay for kind of like a mixed use. We want to see some work, live type space. I'm like, this site will never go that way.
Yeah.
City council members, planning commissions, they all see this mixed use. I'm like, this is the wave of the future. I'm like, yes, it works in certain areas like downtown Scottsdale.
Yeah.
Works, right?
Yeah.
Downtown Phoenix, kind of works, right? But then they see it happening all over the country. Like, well, we want mixed use. So they put mixed use in areas that will never work.
Yeah.
They don't understand the demographics. They don't understand traffic patterns. They don't understand consumer wants and desires. I tell people all the time, when I'm either coaching or speaking or mentoring, just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, all the time. just because you can doesn't mean you should. But that's the problem. Cities see things that work in other cities and they want to adopt it.
Yep.
That's great. But do your homework, do your research. Putting mixed use surrounded by a bunch of industrial buildings is not going to work.
Yep.
It just doesn't happen. But they think it will because they saw it somewhere else. I'm like, it works there, but not here. But don't push it on me. But they do. They start pushing it on the developers. They start pushing it on the owners. And it's like, don't push. We know what the market wants, what the market demands. We're trying to fill that void. We're trying to solve a problem. And you guys are trying to push us in another direction that doesn't solve the problem you have.
Yeah.
Just because you saw some shiny ball somewhere else and you think it's going to work, and it just doesn't.
Talk about, so you've got developments going on in Southern California,
Yeah.
just California in general.
Yeah, Southern California.
Rent control, how do you factor that in on a new development?
So most areas, new construction rent control doesn't usually apply,
Okay.
right, for new construction, right? It usually happens with existing product that has been built and around for many, many years. I think it's up until like 80 something. If you have an apartment building that was built before a certain year, rent control exists. And it mostly exists in cities and not usually the outskirts where I develop. Like if you're in Long Beach, you're in downtown LA, Hollywood, those areas will have rent control, right? Because they enforce their laws and the rules differently. I'm out in the suburbs, kind of in the peripheral. Like out here, I have property in Glendale. Glendale doesn't have rent control like that. But if we're in maybe Phoenix or downtown Phoenix or something like that, there may be a rent control. Meaning it happens more in the larger cities than it does kind of in the surrounding communities where I develop. So I avoid that. People come to me all the time, hey, I got this project in LA. Do you want to get in on it? Do you want to build it? Do you want to buy it? Et cetera, et cetera. I'm like, I'll stay away.
Yeah.
I let other people want those problems. I don't want those problems. I don't want to deal with that kind of stuff. Yeah. Just my philosophy on that.
Yeah. I've always wondered about that, like why people would want to develop in places like that with rent control. Because I see people just piling in and it's just like for these super low yield returns.
Yeah. Well, a lot of cities also, I don't want to say force, but they do, hey, you need to have a certain component of affordable housing.
Yeah.
Or a certain component that is low income, et cetera, which I think is it's good, but to what extent, right? I'm in my project out in Southern California, the 275 multifamily units. I'm a private developer. I own the land 100% free and clear. The city can't force anything on me, but I'm going to add low income just because I want to be that guy that, does my part to help the community out, right? Like, hey, you know what? There's a bunch of homeless vets out there. There's a bunch of older, senior citizens that are struggling to have a place to live. I've seen it firsthand. Like they are sleeping on someone's couch. They're 70 years old. They're on their kid's couch. Can't afford anything. There's no, low-income housing available for them. I've seen it firsthand. It sucks. Let me do what I can to provide that for the community. So just because it's not forced on me, I'm going to give it. But I think other cities that force it need to find that balance with the developer because they come in, you got to have 20, 30% affordable or whatever. Well, how are you going to help me with that?
Yep.
Are you going to lower my taxes? Are you going to fast track my entitlements through the process? What are you going to do to help me out? Because I am a developer. I want to help the community. I want to solve a problem, but I need the city to help me out.
Yeah.
We need to be in partnership. We can't be going at it head to head. You guys want housing, I want to provide housing. You want, to solve a problem, I want to solve your problem. How do we do that as a partner versus always fighting? Because everybody wants what they want. They don't really take anyone else into consideration when that happens.
Sure.
Yeah.
The obviously right now affordable housing is a major thing.
Yep.
You're hearing it a lot more. Do you see a lot of developers, that were maybe in luxury or something, kind of switching up and going more towards affordable stuff?
Affordable makes as much money, if not more, as some other projects, right? But it depends on where you're doing it at. California, the money available and the tax incentives and the tax breaks and the other incentives and grants is really hard to get your hands on because there's a long line of people in line wanting to get their hands on to do that, right? You go to other places, like I have friends in Texas and Wisconsin and Atlanta that are doing affordable. They're doing it really fast. It's going through the system. The state and the city have money for you, incentives for you, and they're really working hand in hand. So it kind of depends on where you do it, right? California, it's going to be a tough struggle. You're going to need lobbyists and consultants, and you're going to need to know someone to get that tax money to do your project. Other areas are way more progressive and have more money available, and they less competition to get your money, get your hands on that money. So they're a lot easier to do that in some of the areas. Now, it's also kind of interesting because when you do these low-income projects, you're capped about how much money you can make, right? Because the state says, hey, we're going to give you a bunch of tax incentives and tax credits and stuff like that. We're going to cap you, though, about your income or your profit, right? Because we can't give you all this money and then you go and, raise rents really high. You're capped about that. So it's a balance, right? It's about the developer, making a lot of their profit on the front end, on the development portion of it, and then during the operation, it's reduced, but it still balances out in the end, right?
Yeah, because he's on the front.
Yeah, so it depends on what path you want to take. Do I want to go down a path where I get most of my investment development construction money from the state in terms of incentives and credits, or do I just want to be a private developer and do it myself and raise my money that way and operate the way I want? So it all kind of depends on your development strategy, how you want to do it. But you both paths will make money. Yeah.
How are you funding your projects?
So for the longest time, we're self-funded.
Yeah.
Yeah, just, sold some properties, have a lot of cash in the bank, bought a bunch of land, and the land I buy really good. I'm really good at buying land.
Yeah.
Yeah, I the day I close escrow, I have massive amounts of equity because maybe that's my superpower, identifying and purchasing development opportunities really well.
How'd you learn that?
I think a lot of it was from just being curious.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when you're driving down the street, most people are looking straight. I never look straight.
Yeah.
Never look straight. Maybe that's because I get accidents and tickets all the time. But I'm always looking left and right. Opportunity, 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 right? I'm always craning my neck one way or another looking for something.
Same.
Maybe it's just curiosity. Maybe it's just the way I'm wired. But it's like, that's where I'm at. And then I see something. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. How do I make that work? What can we do to maximize that, right? Maybe there's a building on it. Maybe it's vacant land. Who knows what it is? How do I figure out and take those pieces and put them together to create something out of that? I love, love, love putting things together.
Yeah.
Whether it's wrenching on a car, ripping it apart and putting it back together, or putting a development team and a real estate development together. To me, it's the same thing. Building projects, building cars, building friendships, building communities. I just love, love, love taking pieces, finding the pieces, figuring out which pieces to use, and putting them together and creating something. I think that's just my thing.
That's cool.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, that's the same building. So like we've just got into a small piece of land. It's
Yep.
going to be a 10-unit apartment, possibly townhome, depending on what. So the same thing.
Yep.
We like to create. He found it, found the piece of land.
Doing what you just said.
Left
Just
and
driving
right.
down the road.
Literally just, yeah.
That's
and it
it.
was just an opportunity that it was just like stuck out. And it's like, how is nobody else jumping on this?
Right.
You know what I mean? And so it seems like it's moving pretty fast.
Yeah.
It's doing good. We just completed a 15-unit townhome over by the Biltmore, Central Phoenix
Nice.
area.
Yeah.
Kind of like what you're talking about, though. They'll build for rent. Where you're build for rent, are you going to keep those? Or are you going to sell them off to like a REIT?
So that's the beauty of this built for rent type
Yeah.
of model, right? Because you have multiple exit strategies.
Yeah.
So going back again to when I either mentor, speak, or teach, I tell people you better have an oh shit number.
Yeah.
What's your oh shit number? Meaning if you get into a deal, you get into a development, you get into something, and shit hits the fan, and you got to bug out and cut bait and get rid of that project or that piece of dirt or whatever, how fast can you do it, and how fast can you do it and break even, right? Because people get into these things and they pour money into it, and then something happens and they lose everything.
Yeah.
What is your oh shit number? So always, always, always go into a project with that oh shit number, meaning if I got to bug out, how fast can I get out of this and break even? So I don't lose my money, my investors' money, my family's money, right? And then I also look at multiple exit strategies. So right now on the townhomes or my industrial buildings that I'm building, there needs to be multiple exits, because I don't know where the market will really be in 2 years, 18 months, 24 months when some of these projects are done. The market could flip and it goes back to a buyer's market because interest rates drop again. Maybe interest rates go back up after the election. I don't know where the market's going to be. Maybe cash dries up. Maybe unemployment goes up and changes the market. So whenever I look at a project, there needs to be multiple exit strategies. Like in townhomes, I can rent them all out. You operate them like multifamily property. I can sell some and keep some. So recapture my cash and keep cash producing asset. I can sell off half. I can sell off half the dirt to another developer and keep my half. I can sell the industrial buildings in 4 years because the per square foot price is really high and I'm making a great profit. I can sell them. If that market is soft, then I can lease them out and maybe sell them all as a portfolio. Or maybe I lease them out and I sell them one by one to individual investors, right? So I'm looking for multiple exits depending on where I'm going to be in a couple of years. And I am not a crystal ball. I don't think any of us have one. And anyone out there who says this is what you need to do or this is where the market's going to be, it's full of shit because no one really knows.
Yeah.
But when you do get into a deal, make sure you have multiple exit strategies. So that's why I like, the townhome built for rent, the small industrial buildings, the larger multifamily stuff, I'll keep. That's portfolio stuff. That's long-term assets. Everyone's going to always need a place to live. But for the other stuff, it's like, what are my exits? What's my oh shit number? And then when that time comes, I can take one of those routes that is best for me.
Yeah. What is multifamily? A lot of people are getting hammered because of their debt scenario, right?
Yep.
How are you structured?
Very, very low debt.
Yeah.
High equity.
Good.
Low leverage. Because this is a kind of like a family office, family-owned business.
Yeah.
I'm a trustee. I'm a steward of my family. My father and I started the business, but the family owns it.
Got it.
Right. So as I grow the business, I need to keep into account that people depend on me. They own as much as this as I do. So I need to be a little bit more cautious. I need to dot my I's and cross my T's a couple more times than everyone else, just because of that. If it was just me, maybe I'd be a little bit more,
Risk on.
aggressive, more risky, whatever it may be. But there's other people. And another thing, I was talking to a friend about this last night. I was telling him we were having cigars with, Carlos and Eddie and Mariano. And I was telling him, when I get into someone else's deal, I'm invested into Pendry Hotel, Four Seasons Hotel, some large projects with some guys I know, right? But when I invest into those deals with someone else, I got to make sure they have skin in the game and not just sweat equity. I want to see cash. I want to see their own cash in the deal. Yeah. Because all these people, these syndications, they come, hey, let's invest, let's go buy stuff, right? But those syndicators don't have their own equity in the game. They don't have their own cash. They're just collecting it, which is fine. If they're good at what they do, it's fine. But if you have your own money, your own cash in the game, your own skin, you're going to fight a whole lot harder to make that project better. So I do not get into anyone else's deal unless they have skin in the game, nor do I bring in anyone's money unless they know that I'm very vested in here cash-wise as well, right? So a big part of it is low leverage, skin in the game, and whoever I'm dealing with better be, operating the same way.
Yeah.
It's a big deal for me.
Yeah, because the syndicators are getting whacked right now.
Hard, bro.
Hard. Yeah, and there's a lot of legal actions being taken, like you said, because there's not skin in the game.
So someone told me this the other day, and I love this quote, and I'm not going to take credit for it, but on this podcast here I will. They call them COVID cowboys because
talk shit about this all the time, man.
Right? Because COVID made everyone successful, even though they couldn't fog a mirror.
Well, we talk about that in our own businesses, trying to hire people. A lot of the younger guys coming up in the different businesses that we're a part of, a lot of these guys entered the workforce during COVID. Yeah. It's like, dude, you could throw a dart and make money, right? From home.
Right.
They were making money, like you were saying earlier, Bitcoin or e-com or whatever it is, and it was easy. And then it's like now things are back to what I would call normal. Yeah. It's like you have to hustle, and it's hard. But it's just like, these guys don't want to work. And I'm like, dude, this is how real life actually is. This
is normal.
This is normal. Like, you actually have to wake up, go hunt and kill.
Yeah.
But, so COVID Cowboys, that's like a perfect one because it made it easy for everyone to make
So
money.
easy. And that's where all these, we were talking about this a little while ago, where all these guys, whether it's real estate or other businesses,
Yeah.
I mean, everyone, I personally have a friend that lost like $600,000 with one person,
Yeah.
just because they didn't,
Real estate deal?
there's some real estate, there's some retail, there's some operational stuff like that. I won't go into the details, but it's just like this person was really good at what they're doing, and then they decided to do more things. And they were collecting money and investors and stuff like that. And then when the market started normalizing, balancing out,
Yeah.
everything went to shit, and so many people lost money.
Yeah. I lost money in flips the exact same way. In 2022, when the market flipped, when the rates went up, we were holding on to some expensive flips.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was like almost like a flip of a switch.
Was it stuff maybe you shouldn't have even got into in the first place?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hindsight, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was just like everything was going so well through that. You know what I mean? And it's like a lot of guys won't admit it publicly, but it's like a lot of these guys you see on social media, like we him and I've had multiple conversations about this, but a lot of these guys you see, a lot of these gurus you see, like I've seen it and I've talked to them about it. And it's like, man, a lot of people, I was kind of in this boat of like, shit, I just lost money, thinking I was like one of the only ones. And it's like, no, I know some guys,
They're just hiding it.
They're hiding it, and they don't talk about it publicly. They've got like a persona they have to keep up with, or students or whatever it is, and it's just like, dude, a lot of us got whacked.
I think a lot of people are afraid of saying that they got whacked and they lost money and this deal went to shit because they're afraid of cancel culture. Hey, this influencer, I invested with this influencer, this entrepreneur, this person with a large following, and I lost everything.
Yeah.
But they're afraid to say something because they don't want to be canceled, or they want to be known as the whistleblower or what have you.
Totally.
Well, what's funny about that, though, is I feel like it's most of the time, not always.
Yeah.
But it's the opposite. Like when you're just real, like, yeah, man, I fucked up. I got whacked. Like, and you're just real with it. I feel like people respect you and give you another chance. But when you hide it, and then everything done in the dark comes to the light. Yeah. And when you get caught, it's like, no, they're gonna burn you at the stake.
And then but I'm starting to see these same people, these syndicators or these business creators or whatever you want to call them. They're rolling on to the next best thing. Yeah. Like, okay, the last couple of years, made a bunch of money, NFTs, crypto, real estate, whatever. It all went to shit. Well, what's the next best thing to raise money and get investors?
Well, it's like we were talking about before we started the pod, was every 2 years. It's like every 2 years they're either into something new or, and I've been part of a lot of businesses too, trying to find my lane, right? And I was going to ask you that next, what other stuff you're a part of, but they're jumping from NFTs. Now you don't even hear about NFTs. It was like the next big thing. Remember, it was just like all of us had a little bit of
land.
Yeah, it was almost like we had like a little bit of FOMO. It's like, shit, dude, I missed the boat on these NFTs, and now I'm looking back, I'm like, shit was all garbage.
Yeah,
I own a couple still that are worthless.
Yeah, toilet paper.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's just stuff like that, man. And that's where a year and a half, 2 years ago, like, well, pretty much when the market flipped, I had my hands in multiple things. I'm like, man, I've got to focus on more, like on one or two things.
Sure.
Because it was just like an octopus. Your fucking tentacles are everywhere, and it's like you have no control of anything. Yeah. It's like no wonder we lost money, or I lost money.
I'm in the real estate business, but all day long I'm looking at crypto and NFTs and not focusing on anything else.
Right.
What am I doing?
Yeah.
100%.
If you just get tunnel vision on that stuff, and that's basically what we did, or what I did almost 2 years ago, is just got tunnel vision, and it's like, dude, what was I doing this whole time? Yeah. So speaking of other businesses, are you involved? Anything else?
Not really.
Yeah.
Right. So I made a very conscious decision back when I was seeing all these other people, get into this real estate deal, this restaurant deal, this, NFT deal, this crypto deal, this something. There's always something, right? And everyone was just dropping money, right? And I admit I invested a few thousand here, a few thousand there into things with people I knew. I thought, okay, let me just throw a few bucks and see what happens, right? It all went to zero. I got nothing left, right? But I also said, I cannot consciously get into an investment or a business or something that I don't really understand, right? So I don't understand food. I don't understand manufacturing. I don't understand crypto. I don't understand NFTs. I don't understand, Web 3.0 and, digital real estate. Like, that's gone already too, right? I don't understand these things, so I can't consciously put money into it that I'm a steward of, right? And expect someone to take care of it for me. I will put money into deals that I understand, and that's why I'm in Four Seasons and Montage and Pendry and industrial warehousing and stuff like that, because I understand that business and I understand the operators. I can look at the project and look at the numbers and understand it from a real estate standpoint. That's a good deal. That's going to make money. If that eats shit, and there's a no shit number, we're still okay, right? So I focus very much on our strengths and our skill sets, right? And this goes back to when I first started getting into, personal development and joining Arate and, the boardroom and stuff like that. One of my first mentors, a real good friend of mine, he is a partner in a construction company in Southern California. They're doing a couple $100 million a year in construction. He just got $1 billion contract to build this big giant facility for a city, stadium and community center and parks and stuff like that. Amazing guy. And he put me on to a test called Clifton Strengths Finder, where you go and you take this test online, and it tells you your natural inherent strengths. Are you a communicator? Are you a leader? Are you a visionary? Are you a connector, et cetera, et cetera? And that got me thinking about, what am I naturally inherently good at, right? And let me put everything I have behind those skill sets to move myself forward. I found out I'm a natural connector. I connect people effortlessly. And I'm also
That's you, dude.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I bet you could probably make money off of that now if you
Yeah,
really
absolutely.
put money behind it, right?
Yeah.
Right, 100%.
100%. Yeah, that's what he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're able to figure out what you're naturally good at, or if you're able to figure out what you're naturally good at business-wise, figure that out and double down on it. Don't force something that you're not good at. Don't force crypto, NFT, Web 3.0, et cetera, if you're good at construction, if you're good at flipping deals, if you're good at, selling paper. Figure out what you're good at and double down on that. Don't chase rainbows and puppy dogs.
Yeah.
And that goes for my investment philosophy as well as my business. Real estate is wide, and I see guys flipping houses and wholesaling and doing all these deals and making shit tons of money. I'm like, man, why am I doing this when I could be doing that every 30 to 45 days, crushing it, right? But I'm like, because that's not my lane.
Yeah.
Let me stay in my lane. You know what I mean? Shiny ball syndrome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's bad, especially in real estate. But
It's
I'm like,
it's very bad.
Yeah.
And that's such a powerful thing. Like I struggle with that for a long time, in this age of social media.
Yep.
And it's like everybody, like we have an event coming up here on the 18th, I believe, and they're asking me if I'm going to speak, and it's what you said. It's like figuring out what your strengths are. I'm like, that's not I don't want to. I could care less. Like maybe it makes you look cool. Maybe I don't give a shit. Like I want to connect with people one-on-one, 1 to 2, 1 to 5, like that, and build relationships. Like I just don't really want to do that. And for a while, I'm just trying to force myself. All right, this is what I need to do. This is what you're supposed to do. And it's like, no, I don't want to do that.
I think that goes back to the 2-year cycle, right? If you're trying to do something you're not good at, or get into something you're not good at, or be someone you're not supposed to be, maybe you're able to float it for 2 years.
Yeah.
But then after that, things will crash and burn.
Yeah. It's not sustainable.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
For sure.
Tell me about your upbringing.
Man, pumping gas.
Yeah.
Yeah, typical Arab kid pumping gas in his dad's gas station.
Southern California.
Southern California. I was born and raised. My dad was an immigrant, came to this country. He's passed now, but he came back in the, 50s, late 50s, early 60s. So he's
Where?
OG from Syria.
Syria.
Yeah, my father's Syrian. My mother's Irish Italian.
Okay.
He used to deposit his gas money in the bank, and she was the teller, and it was downhill from there. So my dad had gas stations. I grew up pumping gas in Southern California, and did that for a long time. It took me almost 8 years to get through college because I was working 60, 70 hours a week, 7 days a week, waking up at 6 a.m. or actually 5:30 to open the store by 6 to pump gas, right? Rain or shine, I was there 6, 7 days a week, right? Just grinding. I probably still to this day can rip a gas pump apart, repair it, and put it back together, right? Because you're an immigrant. You're a child of an immigrant. You don't hire anybody for anything, right? The store needs to be painted, you paint it yourself. The gas pump is broken, you fix it yourself, right? shoot, I mean, there is nothing that I didn't have to do with my own hands. So maybe that's where the building part comes in, maybe putting things together, because there was never an option to hire somebody.
Same.
So went through that.
Well, I grew up on a farm.
Yeah.
It was everything. We did everything. You had to
100%.
build it. You had to paint it. You had to. There was no hiring people.
Right.
Yeah. Figure it out.
Even buying the materials to fix it, that was even a stretch, right?
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It
was almost like borderline. Do we go buy a 2x4? Or do we cut down a tree?
Exactly.
It's like
there's a box of junk. I'm sure we can figure it out.
Exactly.
Right?
100% what it was. Yeah. Everything was like that.
And I appreciate that because it taught me hard work, right? Because
Yes.
working 60, 70 hours a week, bro, that's easy for me.
Well, I was actually having this conversation with my wife maybe a week ago, and I'm like,
Yeah.
she was saying, "Oh, you're the hardest worker I know, whatever." And I'm like, to me, it's just work. It's not hard work. It's just I literally just work, you know.
Normal.
And then she's like, "Yeah, but compared to," and I'm like, "Well, you don't compare it to the people." You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because to me, it's literally just work. It doesn't
Yeah.
Yeah,
matter.
but
if
I
it's-
mean, you kind of have to though, because we are a dying breed. Same thing. Grew up in a mining
true.
town. All my family's still in the mines.
Yeah.
Like, and I can look back at that and be like, dude, like you just said, 60, 70 hour week, like, it's just nothing. That's natural. That's normal. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, if I can do that for as long as I did, everything else is easy.
Easy.
You know, so when you do compare to, well, we've talked about, we see them every day, like these guys that,
all my salary guys.
like,
it's
I've been here 4 hours, I'm ready to go home.
Yeah, I have salary guys, and I'm like, dude, did you work 40 hours this week? Well, no. And I'm like, then why the fuck should I pay you for 40? Well, that was our. And I'm like, yeah, we agreed on that money, but did you put in those hours? Well, I had this thing, and I'm like, dude, you haven't worked 40 hours in 4 months, you
Yeah.
know? And it's, well, we're not all the business owner. I'm like, right, but I'm asking you to do just the thing I hired you to do. So
Yeah.
it's back to the COVID cowboy. you
It's
know?
a struggle, man.
Yeah, to me, it's work. It's not hard work. It's just work. But yeah, it's a dying breed for sure.
But you're right. It is we are a rare breed. And I'm proud to say that because last night, we had cigars with the guys and stuff like that. One of the guys was telling me, one of their employees called and they said, "I'm not going to be able to come in today." Why is that? I got a flat tire. Takes you 20 minutes to change it and get back on the road. You'll be a little bit late, but you have to take the whole day off because you got a flat tire.
I've
And
actually
that's how
heard
it
that
is.
one multiple
It's
times.
so common now.
Yeah.
It's so common. Like you know what I mean? I stub my toe. I'm gonna take the day off. It's
Oh,
like, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly.
You serious?
But that's the opportunity. See, I don't have kids. Maybe one day I'll be blessed enough to have children. I don't know if you guys have children.
Yeah.
But
I say this all the time. I know where you're going with this.
if you're able to instill in your children what you guys already have, oh, they're gonna win, bro.
Yeah,
They're gonna
in a world like this,
they're gonna ruin it, dude. They're gonna.
I say this all the time. My wife, we've talked about this too,
Yeah.
because I've got my oldest is 5, and I look at all the other his friends or our couple friends that have kids, and I'm just like, even though these other kids are little, like not to be a dick, but I'm like, they're kind of pussies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just
Yeah.
like, that's my kid's future competition.
Yeah.
And my wife's like, oh, you can't think of them like that. But I'm just like, that is, you know what I mean? Cancel me. I don't care. But it's
Yeah.
just like, if I teach my kids these things, he's going to freaking mop whenever he's older.
He's gonna
you know?
mop the floor
Yeah.
with the world, bro.
And that's like, and so I'm maybe a little too hard on him, but it's just like, me, I don't know.
I mean, for me, it's
it's
somewhat
survival,
the
dude.
opposite
You know what I mean?
because I struggle with that because I'm like I mean we live in the city, we live at like I was out in the sticks in the middle
Yeah.
of nowhere, like I'd be out in 4-wheelers and wrecking 4-wheelers and walking home with a broken arm.
Yeah.
and not really, but you know what I mean.
Close enough. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, how do I recreate that? That's
Yeah.
difficult for me. We're working on it with like sports and stuff.
Sure.
Get that competition,
Yeah.
competitive spirit, but it's tough, man. It's tough to
It-
recreate that.
It is tough, but I don't think it's impossible.
Yeah, I agree.
Right? You instill with them, hey, being a team player is great,
Yeah.
but we're not. That's not. You got to win.
Yeah.
You got to survive. You got to provide. You got to
Yeah.
help. You got to lead the way.
I've
And
got a
there's
picture.
nothing wrong with being that person.
Yeah, you can't help anybody until you help yourself.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this world needs leaders.
Yeah.
And where are they going to come from?
Yep.
Society is not creating them. It's up to the dying breed like yourself
agree.
to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is us. Like, it's my kid on the roof. He's 5.
Oh,
he's on
see,
the
I
roof
love
with
that.
me, dude. And it's, I
Right.
mean, my kids are at the job site. Just
Working
this
away.
is me on the phone,
Yeah. And see,
just throwing it on my shoulder. You know what I
the,
mean?
the difference between you and your
Yeah.
parents was you were watching him on the roof and making sure he was okay. Our parents would just put it up there and say, handle it and come back.
figure it
with-
out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, figure it
There's a little bit of a difference.
100%.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's too funny.
So how I came to know you was
Yeah.
was from him, and he just mentioned, we were wanting to talk to some developers and stuff, and he was just saying, basically, if I talk to somebody, I want to talk to the best in that industry, and he was telling me, he's like, dude, he's very well respected in the developer
Yeah,
industry, and I mean even down to your handle, Ahmed Builds Better.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is, and what is it about you that just makes you want to be the best? And I can kind of hear it in the way you're talking, but
With all due honesty, there's a little tiny bit of ego,
Okay.
but that's what pushes everyone, right?
Yeah.
There's a little bit of ego, but number two is like, why shouldn't I be?
Yeah.
Why shouldn't I do a better job? How many projects have you walked into, you've seen, roofs, developments, whatever, and you walk in like, who in the hell built this thing? This is brand new and it's a
time.
piece of shit,
All the time.
right?
Yeah.
I'm like, that didn't have to happen, right? It did not have to happen, but it did. So it's like, okay, well, one, I'm going to go and design, build, construct projects that make everyone else look bad. Not because I want to make them look bad, but because I want to, set the bar high so then they can do it too. Because if people see, hey, Ahmed's project is pretty badass, that's really nice, they really set the bar high with that one, then the next guy is going to say, well, I'm going to do that too. Well, if the next guy's coming up, I'm going to like, holy shit, he just had a really great project, it's going to push me to go higher.
Yeah.
Right? So if I can set the bar and get people to, for whatever reason, whatever their motivation is to do better, it only pushes me to do better. And then when we're all doing better, everyone wins, right? So I'm not doing it to be better, but I'm doing it to show other people you can do better. It's not that hard to do better. And when you do better, I do better. And when I do better, you do better, right? So it's kind of like, hey, let's start that momentum.
Yeah.
Let's not cut corners and try and save 7 cents here and 10 cents over here because it's not going to last, right? Let's do the right job. How many times have you walked into a building or seen a building that was designed 50, 60 years ago and you're like, this thing is still beautiful till today? Because they did the right thing.
Yeah.
And then I go see things that were designed yesterday and they were built today. I'm like, this thing is going to look good for about a week before it looks old and tired.
Yeah.
And the design goes away.
Especially all the stuff that's built during COVID, man.
Yeah.
So much garbage built, and it's like we're in the roofing industry. And so, like, one thing that we see a lot of today is like tile roofs, that physical tiles built during COVID.
Yeah.
There was such a shortage of material. They're just like, fuck it, put it out. And now
Yeah.
all those tiles are just like literally crumbling.
Junk.
They're junk.
Yeah.
Not under warranty, and they're brand new. They're not, but it's just they're junk, and that goes for full homes. But we see it all the time, just on roofs specifically, right? Yeah. So there's a lot of junk just being distributed out to the masses.
People are more interested in making a dollar
Bottom line.
than they are in having a long-term sustainable business product or reputation.
Yeah.
Right.
Right? Like, hey, that project was great. You made a bunch of money. It's a piece of shit. I'll never work with you, and you'll never work with them. Right? But if you do something like, hey, that was great. It looks good. It's going to be timeless. It lasts forever, and it's built right. People are going to be like, hey, I want to be a part of that.
Yep.
I want to buy that.
Yep.
I want to be in that team. I want to be part of that crew. Whatever it is, that's how you do it. But it's the one-offs, you
Yeah.
know, that ruin it for everyone else. They pay too much for dirt. Their construction costs are high because they pay whatever they want, and then all the other trades are high, and you can't get the right money or find the right guys to do your job because they're wanting too much money. It's like those guys that think they're investors and developers. They go out there and buy something, and you're like, why did you pay that? You're not going to make money off of it, but now you ruined it for me and the rest of the guys
Right.
who do this day in and day out, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like the developers like, why'd you do that? Now you're ruining it for the rest of us. But let them do it.
Yeah.
It won't last 2 years.
2
2
year
years.
cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we do a website, 2years.com. And we just put everyone's,
All their names, all
the
the-
names or logos, whatever, the
Social
failed
media.
businesses. and
Be
all
like
that.
the blacklist, yeah.
Right? Yeah.
What do you need right now in life?
I think I'm working towards it, but business is going in the right direction. This whole year, I'm actually building a business, right? So I have a mentor, Kent Clothier, great friend, good mentor, and he's showing me not how to do my business better, but how to construct and create that business to move forward.
Yeah.
Right. I'm good at what I do, but I don't have operations. I don't have systems. I don't have processes. I don't have people. I don't have a business. I'm a hustler. I'm a gunslinger and not an army. You know what I mean? And in order to move forward, I got to get rid of the gunslinger and have an army.
Yeah.
So this whole year, I'm really working on building a sustainable business, like a really solid foundation.
Yeah.
Right? Not something like you said crumbles after 6 months or something like that. A real solid foundation that I can go and travel or stay home or get married and have kids and whatever, and the business is still solid because it was built right from the bottom. My thing is I got all these projects and all these developments that are great, really good ones, but I need to build that foundation under it now, because sooner or later I won't have the time to do it.
Yeah.
So it's really about creating a real business, real structures, real processes, versus trying to be a gunslinger, which we've all been.
Yeah.
That's a big thing for me right now, for sure. This whole year is about that.
Yeah.
Is it more so to, I mean, you kind of said that, but to kind of gain some time freedom back, or is it more so, maybe potentially setting up for an exit at some point, or what's the purpose behind that?
I don't know if there's an exit for people like us. I'm sorry. Maybe I'll sell something, acquire something, whatever it may be. But guys like us, we never exit. I mean, we don't live for the goal. There's no goal line in what we do.
It just keeps moving.
I just keep going because I love moving forward. And if there's a goal and I hit it, I'm done. I don't want to have a goal. I just want to have a path.
Yeah.
I just want a journey, right? So for an exit, not really. But like you said, compressing time, getting time back, being able to live a life that I want to live, you need a system, a structure, a business that will allow you to do that. Because if you're required in the office 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, you don't have a business. And that's what was taught to me recently. I'm like, you are not a business. You are a deal junkie. I'm like
a career politician.
Yeah.
Dude, we're just being forever just doing deal junkies.
Yeah, and I don't want to be a deal junkie.
Yeah.
Because a deal junkie, you can't sustain that.
No.
Yeah, it's fun at times.
It is.
We're all deal junkies.
It is.
For
Yeah.
sure, man.
But
Yeah.
if I want to be a deal junkie, I want to make sure there's a business behind me that can handle it. So
Yeah.
I can go be a deal junkie, but everything's already handled.
Exactly.
Yeah. Can't do both.
Same.
Yeah, that's funny.
It's a big deal.
I'm just curious because I own